You have one of those energies where people assume so much about you, but know so little. And it's weird because people will get super infatuated with you. They'll get a little obsessive. They'll get a little addicted to your energy, but then not really fucking know anything about you. So it's like, how are you so into me? How do you claim to be so into me? But you don't even have real curiosity about me. And I think that's because people tend to project a lot onto you. They tend to fall in love with the idea of you. They get fixated on who you could be. I do think you have a presence that speaks very strongly, and you have an energy that speaks very strongly, so that you don't even have to say anything and your energy is felt. But a lot of it is assumed. A lot of it is based on projection. And I think there's probably a discomfort and even kind of an anger with the fact that people don't actually really try to get to know you, you know? But like I said, it kind of feels like your character does speak for itself. Like, because you do have this very strong spirit, people assume strength. Because you have this outward beauty, people assume that inward beauty. You know, they assume that you're nice or you're sweet or you're kind because you look a certain way. So there's a lot of judgment that happens. A lot of judgment is thrown at you when it feels like very few people actually try to understand you or get to know you. And you could have lots of people wanting to be your friend. You could have lots of people wanting to date you, wanting to get to know you, but not actually wanting to get to know you. So it's like, how are you pretending to want to pursue me, but you aren't even actually curious about me? You know, you don't even ask things about me, and you're someone who genuinely has interest in who someone is. Like, you don't invest in anyone for superficial reasons. Very rarely do you project onto other people. I think maybe sometimes when it comes to romantic connections, you could have a tendency to project because you want someone to be a certain way. But especially when it comes to like making friends or just getting, you know, acquainted with someone, you try to be as open to letting someone show you who they are without making assumptions about who you think they are. And I think that's something you've naturally developed because it feels like people don't actually try to get to know you. So you're like, I don't want to repeat that, you know? And because you're someone who wants to know so much about the people you're connecting with, you know, that's probably why some of the people in here are very drawn to astrology. Astrology is such a great tool for getting to know people. Like, you could be someone who's like, what's your sign? You know, let's see your birth chart. let's uncover everything about you. You know, I think birth charts are so special in that sense because you can know so much about a person without actually even asking any questions. And you just really desire to know people to the depth of their core. Like, you want to be enmeshed with someone. You want to merge with someone. So you want to know everything about them. And you're really an open book, but you don't just spill it out. Like, you don't just say things for the sake of saying them. You want someone to genuinely inquire about you. You want them to be genuinely curious about you and to want to know these things about you. So you don't share a lot. And you could come off a little mysterious. You know, you could come off a little hard to read at times, but I do think your energy, because it is very like pure and beautiful and sweet, and like so much is felt with you without being spoken, that people just kind of fill in the blanks with whatever they want, and so much of their perception of you is what they have assumed about you without actually getting to know that about you. But yeah, I say this is hard for you to like really form relationships because you're like, I want to merge my life with you. I want to know everything about you, but I want you to want to feel the same way about me. You know, I want you to be curious about the kind of things that I like, the books that I read, the music I listen to. Like, you're the type that probably wants to like share playlists and, you know, like make a playlist for someone and, you know, just share every little bit and piece of yourself with them without having to do it yourself. You want someone to be interested in you. And I just feel this deep frustration on a spiritual level because it's hard when people act like they want to get close to you but don't really make a strong attempt. to actually get close to you. They just assume things about you and project onto you, you know? And I think part of you feels like maybe they don't actually want to get to know me and they want to just live in that assumption. They want to just, I guess, fall in love with the projection of me. And so it may feel like, again, you may struggle with feeling lovable in who you are and feeling worthy in who you are authentically, because very little actually inquire about who that person is, you know? But I just need you to know that I think a lot of what this is people being caught up in assumption because they it's hard to articulate. I don't want to say it's narcissistic. I don't want to say it's being self-centered. It's just people really lack the curiosity, I think. I don't think so many people are as consumed with understanding the depth of who someone is. You know, we're so in society focused on image and the superficial, and you guys come through as like Capricorn Venus, Scorpio Venus, even some Gemini Venus, Cancer Venus. Like, people with those Venus placements truly just want to merge with another. And so many people are also just focused on like who's hot and who's not, you know? And so caught up in their own shit that they forget that there's a whole person in there. A whole person, a whole world, a whole soul. So, I don't know. I feel like this is probably a discouraging part of your path, but I need you to know that you are worthy in all of who you are. And the right people are going to be genuinely curious about who that person is and want to get to know them.